Hi everyone, in this video we're going to be talking about another form of immersive storytelling known as augmented reality. And it's different but similar to virtual reality, and there are different applications and forms that we're going to talk about, as well as examples and software and ways to teach this and to use it as a journalist. So augmented reality is a type of immersion where objects or data are added to existing reality displayed on a screen but not a natural part of it. And so this is where the user understands that they are physically where they are. They haven't transported like virtual reality to another place. They're not suddenly on Mars or underwater. But in this case, they are in their actual environment, but there's a digital overlay of a virtual asset or object that's over top of their current environment. Examples of this include Google Translate, and if you've ever used this app before, basically it allows you to take a picture of any language and it will translate it for you on the fly, which is pretty amazing. Apple's Measure app that came proprietary with their iOS pretty recently allows you to actually measure distances around you. Snapchat and Instagram face filters are some of the most popular versions of augmented reality, where it can detect your face and it can augment the look of that face. So like I said, there are many different forms of this. One type is a marker-based AR, where basically it will detect a marker like a poster or a face. And once it detects those structures, it will be able to create an augmented reality experience based on that marker. Other examples of AR include markerless, and this would be kind of like maybe geolocation based, where you're actually able to, this is an example where you can take an app to a place and recreate or see scenes unfold from your favorite movies because it's locating where you are in terms of geolocation. And so it's not looking for a marker so much as it is able to detect you by geolocation. So markerless is a very unique use of augmented reality. Another type of AR is projection-based, and so we've seen this in lots of different examples. In 2018, in the Super Bowl, there was a projection of Prince on stage, and they did this with Tupac as well during Coachella a few years ago, where they used holograms and projection to kind of augment what was happening, and so it seemed like Prince was actually at the Super Bowl, and it seemed like Tupac was actually at Coachella. And so that's another form of AR storytelling, is through projection and hologram. And then another form is a superimposition base, which you may have used one of these before, where like the IKEA app that can detect a room, and then you can basically scan items within the IKEA catalog and see how it might look within your home. In this case, it's detecting the plane, the floor, and then you're able to put items in a superimposition-based format. And so that's another form of augmented reality. A lot of journalists are using augmented reality for storytelling specifically. This allows readers and audiences to connect more closely with these characters, objects, or issues within their own environment. And so this screen recording on the left will show you an example of the New York Times and how they've used it during the 2018 Olympics. In the middle of the story, you can allow it to have camera access to your phone, and then it will show you a way to, it'll detect, as you can see, it'll aim at the floor, another flat surface, and you can see that the skater, Nathan Chen, can be placed within your world, in your own living room, and you can kind of walk around him and walk around the experience. And this allows you to not just read a story, but also immerse yourself in an augmented reality form. And again, this is augmenting your reality. It is now, this figure skater is in your living room. Other examples of this might include, the new Tesla came out, and so you can put the Tesla in your living room and explore it a little bit. A lot of uses for this, both for journalism and also for advertising and other types of marketing. Another really interesting storytelling example of augmented reality is by Robert Hernandez at USC Annenberg, and his students have created this really interesting experience where they scanned in a shelter and they kind of explored the world of homelessness in their area.
That is a portable charger. Most homeless people have them to charge their phones. There's no outlets in a tent. You can charge that at a local library, which the majority do.
As you can see, they had a lot of interviews. They had a really interesting immersive experience, and it was all deployed on Snapchat. And so augmented reality offers a really unique experience as it relates to storytelling and especially journalism. Some projects that my students have turned in lately, this was kind of for a small assignment for them just to kind of get experience with it. This is them using augmented reality to create a little chessboard. And some other student projects is a student created a TIE fighter for May the 4th be with you. Another student even developed a whole rack here with pictures of her own dog in it. And that was a really unique experience. And she has a spaceship going off and some audio going on here. A really cool way to interact with objects, both journalistically and commercially. And they had a lot of fun doing it. This is another unique one that a student made where you could see as he hovered his phone over it, it created this kind of experience, kind of like an interactive poster. And so there are many different uses for augmented reality, and that's just a few examples of what we do in my class. Apple has really put a lot of resources and upped its game in the world of augmented reality. They've created this program called Reality Composer with their Xcode 11, and also it comes as its own standalone app where you can very quickly create your own augmented reality experience using just a simple app. Now, a really great cross-platform experience is Spark AR. It's created by Facebook, and it's mainly meant for people to create augmented facial expressions, obviously for their face filters for Instagram and Facebook. But each one of these examples that I showed you earlier were all built in Spark AR, and that allowed for plane detection. When a plane or a marker was detected, the user could interact with an object pretty quickly and easily using Spark AR. And Snapchat obviously has its Lens Studio that you can deploy any augmented reality experience to Snapchat. And then Google has AR Core for developers to develop augmented reality experiences as well. As you can see, the barrier for entry for a lot of this technology is very low, with cross-platform options, with being able to deploy right to social media, to the shareability of it, free software. It's becoming very easy for media professionals to experiment and deploy their own augmented reality projects.